Good evening, Richmond County, and welcome to another edition of the RO Sports Show, brought to you by Richmond Community College, local college, big impact. The only thing that prevented the Richmond boys basketball team from winning the 2019-2020 SAC Tournament Championship was a, quote, sense of urgency in the third quarter. Making the trip to face the top-seeded Pinecrest Patriots, the number 3 Raiders saw a lapse in the third quarter lead to a 62-55 loss in the rubber match between the two schools. Despite dropping an impressive 32 points in the final 8 minutes, Richmond couldn't eliminate a game-high 14-point deficit in the early stages of the fourth. But Richmond didn't let their loss to Pinecrest get the better of them moving forward, as the Raiders earned a number 13 seed in the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 4A state playoffs, and their opponent would be Butler. Patrick McLaughlin may have only scored 2 points in Tuesday's first round game, but they were the biggest ones for the Raiders. Hosting number 20 Butler with the game knotted at 55 points with just 4.1 seconds left on the clock, McLaughlin was fouled by Chasten Gatewood driving through the paint. With the game and the team's season on the line, McLaughlin drilled both shots from the charity stripe to earn a 57-55 win and advance the Raiders to the second round for the second straight year. Richmond will hit the road tonight for a second round rematch from last season at number 4 Independence. The Raiders were eliminated a season ago in a 58-39 decision on the road. Richmond Raider football head coach Bryan Till addresses Richmond County about the team's state after coming off an NCHSAA 4AA West Regional appearance in the 2019 state playoffs. Ross spoke with the coach after the speech.
Coach, first thing I wanted to ask you, I saw the first slide of the presentation said, don't stop till it's finished. Now, what does that mean exactly besides the play on your name, which I know you said was accidental?
Yeah, completely unintentional there. So the big thing is the focus for our young men to finish whatever it is, and we've always talked about that. But we thought that following up, being fearless, last year was kind of our moniker. That the idea now is okay. We knew that they weren't like in fear last year, but it's more of an idea and a mindset that whatever the task is, be willing to do it. Well, now it's not just do the task. We want to build off of that. Let's finish whatever it is. Whether we're talking about our classwork every night, whether we're talking about the last sprint. You're talking about the end of the season. We want to be able to prepare to finish and finish in the way that we want to with everything we're doing.
And the program should change, or you said that this program should change the face of our community in 10 years. How's that going to take place?
Well, I think, depending on the type of young men you're producing such a high volume of them. You're talking about 34 guys graduated this year. Have 20 plus in next year's senior class. And those are guys who are very talented young men, and if they're staying in your community and what are they doing in your community, if they're having a positive effect, then over the course of the time they go from 18 to 28, they're going to have a positive effect in your community. If they're having a negative effect, so your community is going to change, I think, in about decade increments somewhat, and you're going to see what happens. And especially when we're talking about year after year after year, these guys in 10 years who graduate now will be 28, but what about the guys who graduated 2 years ago, 29 and 30? Where those guys are. Those guys are all together, and what they're going to have some impact on this community as a group of young men, as fathers, right? As workers, people who are committed to their community, or people who are dragging things down. So we feel like all our guys are going to have a positive effect.
Now, you talked quite a bit about social media, something that's kind of new to the program. But how important is social media, online presence, when it comes to any football program?
Well, I think you're seeing it more and more, the importance. But I think what it does is, if you use it correctly, is it allows people to see. It's so easy to talk about negative things, but it allows people to see all the positive things and understand and have positive energy around your program. Your kids to be excited, positive energy in your program with your kids. And then also, when you're talking about, again, it's a business, the financial aspect, to get people interested in your team so they come out to the games. And they pay to see the guys play, and they're giving into that program, so those guys are able to have a positive experience. So I think social media can be kind of the front runner for all of those things that we want to happen in a good program, if it's used right. Also to represent the character you want to have in your program. You could take social media and do all kind of terrible things with it too. So are we going to represent the character we want to have in our program day in and day out?
Now, another slide that I saw said the team GPA was 3.09, which is great. How important is the student part of student athlete?
It's probably the most important because it's the thing that's going to keep going. Are you a lifelong learner? Are you someone who's going to continue to grow and change as a man as you grow earlier, as a father for your children? What are you going to do there? And so the GPA obviously shows that our kids are working in the classroom and trying to do, obviously some guys are higher, some guys are lower there, but they're all working towards being at their best. So the student part of it is a big part of training them for life, and maybe even more so. I think this goes hand in hand with what we're doing in the game as well.
You also talked about staff continuity, which is difficult to sustain on any level with football. But how important is it to be able to get your guys back year after year?
I think it's extremely important, especially here because some of our guys are tied here, so they understand it. Several of those guys had opportunities to go do other things and even move up in some cases. And those opportunities where they felt like just weren't right compared to what they were doing here. And I'm not saying guys won't move on. Certainly you want guys who have that kind of ambition because it helps drive your program. We've got several guys who have that ambition here, but they also want to do it the right way. And I think that allows our kids to see that that's not just something we say. That's something those guys are doing in their lives and trying to do things the right way. Even if they were to move up, it would be something they would consider very carefully. They would look at what are the pros and cons of this program. Do I want to be a part of that? And that moves up.
What does it mean to be a part of the 2020 Leadership Council?
Well, so this year it means that you had to want it. We weren't just placed on the council. You had to apply for it. It also means you had to have the respect of your coaches who were making that selection and thinking about, all right, if you guys applied, do you really have leadership qualities? Are there things we're going to develop? Are there places that folks are going to listen and pay attention to you? And I think that we feel that way and feel very strongly about all those kids, that they are going to represent our program and that their peers will listen to them and they can lead them positively.
And last question for you, Coach. What's the schedule looking like now between now and first kickoff?
So, this time of year obviously is a lot of preparation phase stuff. We're doing a lot of weight room work, a lot of track work, working on speed, working on strength conditioning. We'll start in March, 2 days a week, doing some field work, some skill development things. And then in May, we'll get 10 straight days of skill development. And moving into July, we'll run a number of 7-on-7 events, both at home and around the state, even one in South Carolina this year that we're going to participate in. And so that's where that'll move in the summer. Going into August, obviously, that'll be more direct football related things as far as the entire game, special teams, run schemes, run fits, those kind of things. We've been throwing so much before that, and then just tackling practice, all the things that the collisions and things that have to happen in order to teach the game safely. Moving into week 1, which is Clayton, and then of course we've talked a little bit, but I want to mention the week 2 that we since losing the Anson game, picking up Jones out of Orlando, and it's going to be a great event to have those guys coming up from Orlando, coming into our community, gives us a great opportunity to kind of show them what Richmond County is all about.
All right, head coach Bryan Till, varsity football. And of course, if you haven't checked out the state of the program address, you can find that on the Richmond Observer's social media pages across all of our platforms in its entirety. Once again, head coach Bryan Till, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you again, Matt.
Up next is Lady Raider chats from both the softball and soccer teams, and NASCAR goes west. Plus, we have your official Richmond County Athlete of the Week. But first, a word from Richmond Community College.
Do you want a healthcare career? Certified medical assistants are multi-skilled healthcare professionals capable of completing administrative and clerical tasks, making them a valuable member of the healthcare team at medical clinics, doctors' offices, and other healthcare facilities. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the employment of medical assistants is projected to grow 23% over the next 8 years, much faster than the national average. At Richmond Community College, our medical assisting students are trained in our cutting-edge Simulation Learning Center, giving them hands-on experience with high-fidelity mannequins that simulate real-life patient interaction. In addition to clinical skills, our students also receive instruction in scheduling appointments, coding, processing insurance accounts, billing, collections, and medical transcription. Complete the medical assisting program in just 2 years and start your lifelong career today. Visit www.richmondcc.edu to learn more about enrolling in the medical assisting program at Richmond Community College or call 910-410-1700.
The Richmond Senior High School softball program has been hard at work the past 2 weeks preparing for the upcoming spring campaign. Under the direction of first-year head coach Mike Way, the Lady Raiders are undergoing a transition period that will see the team without several familiar faces that highlighted the program the last few seasons. But like all high school sports during a time of transition, Richmond is dynamic and will see many returning players and some new faces fill the gaps. The regular season is a week away, and the Lady Raiders have had to deal with wet weather and make the most out of working indoors and in the batting cage. In this edition of Lady Raider Video Chats, senior Madison Jordan, juniors Kirsten Bruce and Peyton Chappell, and Coach Way highlight different areas of the program.
So Madison, you're one of several returning players with multiple years of varsity experience. So just kind of talk about how you're going to use that veteran leadership this year.
Leadership is something I take pride in. I think being a leader and somebody that younger members of the team can look up to is important. I know I looked up to my senior leaders when I was a freshman, sophomore, and junior, so I just want to continue that and be someone that they can look up to.
Absolutely. Now, you have served the last 2 years as the starting left fielder, and now this year with Coach Way and Coach Schuler, moving some people around, and you're working on the right side of the infield. So just talk about that transition and the roles that you'll serve there.
Yeah, typically I have been an outfielder, but now I'm moving to second/first, so it's totally different, but hopefully it won't be so rough. Whatever is better for the team is what's better for me, so I just want to be able to contribute in the best way.
Now, talking about what's best for the team, obviously that's winning, and this program the last decade and a half has really established a kind of a winning reputation. So what are your thoughts on this year's team, and how do you guys hope to carry on that tradition?
Yeah, this year's team is a different team, not in a bad way, in a good way. We're still going to win. I don't know if we can have as many home runs as we did last year or the years before, but we're still going to win. We're still going to get hits, get bunts down, just do what it takes.
Kirsten, you're coming into your full first year on the varsity level, and you're going to assume much of the pitching responsibilities for the Lady Raiders. So just kind of tell the fans at home how excited you are about that and what you've been working on this spring.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited because I played with a lot of these girls before, and I've been working a lot on getting stronger and more flexible because last season I got hurt and couldn't pitch for like 2 months after the school ball season, so I'm just trying to stay healthy this whole season so I can help us win and possibly make it far into the playoffs.
Now, you've got some big shoes to fill with Grayson Way leaving after 2 years as a starter, so what are some expectations that you have for yourself this year?
I just want to help us any way that I can, whether that be pitching or playing anywhere else, because I do think this is a team sport and it can't just be done by one person.
Sure. Now, this is Coach Way's first season as well at the varsity level. So what's your impression of him, and how has he helped the team prepare?
Yeah, he's a really good coach. I've actually played for him previously, so it's not really new to me. And he's done a lot of individual work, which like separating the infield and outfield, which has helped us a lot because it's a very different very different defensive style.
Sure. Now, how would you describe your pitching style?
I think I'm balanced between like pitching to contact and getting strikeouts, but like more ground balls and outs that way, which is also quicker, more efficient.
Sure. And it's really a new look when it comes to pitcher and catcher this year. You in the circle, and then Taylor Waitley as your battery mate. So just talk about the relationship that you formed with her and how you feel about that moving forward.
Yeah, we've gotten really close over these last few weeks, and I actually have played with her before. She used to be my catcher in the rec ball whenever we were younger, so it's not completely new. But yeah, I'm just excited because we've gotten really close over these past few weeks.
Peyton, you're back for your third year at the varsity level, and you've done a great job the last 2 seasons holding down third base. So defensively, the team is making some changes. So just kind of what are your thoughts on seeing different teammates in different areas, and then your relationship with Aaliyah at shortstop?
It's very different, but I'm excited because it is a big change. So it's going to be more of like a challenge. Like I look at it as a challenge, as in like I have to learn Aaliyah being at shortstop and be able to just talk to her, and we just have to learn each other as players better so that we will be able to work together on short and third. So I'm excited for that.
Very cool. Now, you've also kind of been the number 9 hitter, or really essentially more a second leadoff hitter the last 2 years. But, you know, as you rise and kind of as an upperclassman, you're going to be looked at to being moved up in the lineup. So how are you looking or hoping to adjust to that move?
It's going to be different just because it does make me nervous to be up there. But at the same time, as you said, me being in the 9 hole is basically being a second leadoff. So it's not going to be that different. I just have to take it and make it that way instead of looking at it as in, oh my gosh, I'm in the top of the lineup. I just need to look at it as in, I'm just that second leadoff again.
Sure. Now, last question for you, Peyton. I asked this to Madison earlier in our video, but you know, it's one of the more veteran leaders on this team. You know, that comes with responsibility. So how do you hope to help the younger players, or even just your fellows juniors and senior players?
Just to make them feel comfortable, especially our 2 freshmen that we have. Me and Paige were freshmen coming in. We were the only 2. So I want to be that teammate that can help them out, because I wanted those teammates when I was a freshman to help me out, because it is very nerve-wracking to be a freshman or even a sophomore on varsity, because it's so much more pressure, and people don't realize it, but it is. So I just want to help everybody out and know that it's going to be okay.
You know, with this being your first season, can you just kind of give fans an insight to what the team's been working on and how the girls look so far?
Well, we've been working on lots of things as the season approaches. I'm doing a lot of hitting because of the weather, and you know, some fundamental things, and basically just more than anything trying to get comfortable with each other. I think that's going to be our biggest thing as we get into the season.
Yeah. Now, you guys, obviously there's some faces that are no longer with the program due to graduation, but you know, do you see this kind of as a good challenge to kind of take the group of girls that you have?
Oh yeah, I mean, here's the way I look at it. We're at Richmond Senior High School. The standard is the standard. It doesn't change whoever the faces are in that spot. We're still going to be expected to be among the top teams in the conference. We're still going to be expected to win a lot of games. That doesn't change. I don't want that to change. I don't ever want that to change. So the way I've been saying it, it is a different kind of team. Sure. Instead of a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts, that kind of stuff, we're going to rely on good defense, a lot of speed. We have a lot of speed. We're going to use it.
Now, talking about some other changes, just talk about the pitching aspect this year too, with Kirsten Bruce and Paige Ransom.
Well, once again, it's different. It's not necessarily bad. We're going to go about it a different way. The past couple years, it's been just Grayson, and you know, Taylor Parrish has stepped in there a few times, but it'll be more of a committee kind of thing this year. They both have things that they do really well, and quite honestly, it just kind of depends on the matchup. It depends on who we're playing as to who, you know, might be more effective, and you know, so we'll play it out that way.
And you kind of spoke about this final question just a moment ago, but you said the standard is always up here. Where are you setting the bar this season, and what are some expectations for the team?
I mean, we're going into it trying to win. I mean, you follow up 7 straight conference championships. You try to make it 8. I mean, until somebody tells us we can't, that's the standard we're going by. We're gonna give it everything we got to try to make it 8 in a row.
Also joining RO Sports in our spring edition of Lady Raider Video Chats is the Richmond girls soccer team. Back for his 2nd season is head coach Chris Larson, and it will be a year of transition as he'll be without 11 seniors from a historic 2019 campaign. But the Lady Raiders boast 5 returning seniors, all of whom carry at least 2 years of varsity experience. Wet weather has limited the Lady Raiders' outdoor practice time, but Larson and company are making the best of it. Richmond will scrimmage Saturday at Hoke County High School before opening the season next Monday at Southern Lee High School. Meeting with RO Sports to discuss the upcoming season are seniors Carly Lambeth, Avi Lucero, and Valerie Standridge, sophomore Caitlin Huff, and Coach Larson.
Abby, you're one of several returners, and I've talked to some of the other girls about leadership experience and fulfilling those roles. So how are you going to help lead the team this year?
Well, it's my senior year, so hopefully I'm going to try to take a big responsibility and help out. And being a center back helps me do that.
Now, talking about being a center back, you don't score a lot of goals, but you do help lock down the defense. So what makes this Richmond defense really good?
Well, most of the girls that are in defense have played, I would say a lot. We play travel together. We have great chemistry, which makes everybody a good team in the back.
Yeah, and holding down the back line is definitely one of the more important roles on the team. But also, you are the go-to free kicker, I guess if that's the word that we're going to use. But you take a lot of free kicks, a lot of direct kicks, and that's where a lot of your goals come from. So just kind of talk about that role and how you hope to utilize that this year.
Well, when I found out I was the go-to, it kind of scared me a lot. But this year I've practiced more, and hopefully I'll have some more shots off.
Caitlin, you're back for your sophomore season, and you are the returning leading goal scorer. You had 12 last year, so I'm sure you're hoping that number is going to be higher. So what are some things you're going to do to score more goals?
Mainly just use that as a goal to get past, and use that as a motivation and use my past trainings to help me get past it.
Okay. Now, what are some of the characteristics that make this Lady Raiders soccer team a threat? Is it the speed? Is it the chemistry? Is it the experience?
I feel like we have some speed that could really be used as a potential threat on other teams that might not have it. Mm-hmm. And then we have a bunch of girls that are in the same grade, so we all play together. We have good connections with each other that will help be a threat too.
Good. Now, last question for you. As one of the younger players on the team, being a 10th grader, can you talk about some of the upperclassmen and what about them and how they've helped you last year and hopefully this year as well?
Last year they were a big help. They were a big welcome to the team, and losing 11 seniors was a big loss to the team too. But also I have many people like Abby and Valerie and Carly that have always been a good role model to look up to.
How many goals are you going to score this year?
A lot more than 12.
So Valerie, let's start with how you're feeling about the upcoming season. So just general thoughts there as this is your 4th year on varsity.
This year is very special. It's my senior year, and there's a lot of younger girls, so I want to lead them and help them out this season. And I'm excited for this year. We have a lot of new potential and a lot of new people, so I'm excited to see everybody play as a unit.
Now, if you could use one word to describe the current vibe of the team, what would it be?
Probably relaxed. I feel like everybody's comfortable with each other. Everybody's comfortable with Larson's coaching, so it's not really something that we need to be putting the pressure about or worried about.
Good. Now, one of your responsibilities as a midfielder is to help move the ball downfield, help maintain possession. So just talk about your chemistry with some of the other midfielders like Carly.
We have really good chemistry. We've been playing for a while together. People such as Abby and other girls we've been playing together for a while. Moving the ball is going to be a little different this year. We don't have some of the seniors that we had last year, so we have to learn about how they play and how they can work the ball with others too. So we just have to work that out and figure out who can do what and what'll happen.
Last question for you, Valerie. What are some of your expectations that you and the team hope to accomplish this year?
I want to have a lot of fun. This is my senior year, and I want it to be fun. And I also want to win. I want to, try to beat some more records like we did last year. I want to push ourselves to the most highest expectations yet.
Let's kind of start with the state of the team and just how preseason practices have been going for you guys, because obviously we're inside.
Yeah, practice has been a little difficult this year with 2 days canceling and the rain and the weather, but we've been able to get outside. Preseason, probably about a week, and then had 2 days of tryouts outside, and we've been in the gym kind of playing some indoor, working on some touches and that type of stuff, trying to get ready for our scrimmage game this coming weekend and when we open up on Monday.
Now you guys are down 11 seniors this year, many of whom were multi-year starters. So what do you think it's going to take to kind of fill those gaps and those voids?
The biggest thing is just the girls buying in. A lot of the girls that might have been on the team or JV last year coming and showing up and playing, taking and using practice in those early games this season as a learning experience. Go out and compete and take it all in, and hopefully we can pull out some victories by doing that. Mm-hmm. And then as the year progresses, hopefully we'll get better and better. And some of the things that we struggle with at the beginning of the year, hopefully they'll become second nature and we'll be able to move forward from there.
Soccer season's a pretty long season. You got a bunch of girls, 22 or 24 girls. So just what are some of your expectations in terms of wins and losses and conference standings and all of that?
I really hope to win and be competitive within the conference. It seems like every year we talk about trying to dethrone the king. And that's always the goal, is to try to finish as high as you can in the conference. But again, my realistic expectation is to be competitive. I always winning or losing, I like being in games until the end. I think last year with the girls, they were some tight ball games and could have gone either way, but we were competitive. And as the year got farther along, we hung in there a little bit more, and we got better as the season went on. So that's the biggest thing. In terms of standings, I think we'll do good to battle for that second or third place spot. It's just when you got a young group of girls coming in, it's hard to compete with teams that have girls that have played together for years upon years upon years. Last year's team was a good example of a group that when they play constantly for 3 and 4 years together, the success you can have. And this year is a little bit different. We got the tail end of some of those and some new faces. So it's going to be a new challenge this year. But I think the group of girls that we have is going to step up to the plate and be very successful.
In a final 2-lap scramble that ended with a multi-car crash on the front stretch at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Joey Logano found a way to defend last year's victory in Sunday's Pennzoil 400 NASCAR Cup Series race. Logano sped away after a restart on lap 266 of 267 and led runner-up Matt DiBenedetto to the finish under caution to win for the second time in Las Vegas, the first time this season and the 24th time in his career, breaking a tie with Ricky Rudd for 35th all-time. Logano was one of 7 lead lap drivers who stayed out on older tires when Ross Chastain's spin in turn 2 brought out the 8th caution of the afternoon on lap 261. That yellow flag changed the complexion of the race. An update on Ryan Newman's condition was given at Las Vegas with an interview from a Roush Fenway Racing representative.
Ryan apologizes for not being able to be here, but he did prepare a statement, so if you'll bear with me, I'll read through it. I'm sorry that I can't be at the track in person, but I asked Steve to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for all the support that was shown last week to both me and my family. The outpouring of emotion from not only the NASCAR community, but across the country has been truly humbling. I want to personally thank everyone, including the man upstairs, for their support, encouragement, and the numerous offers of assistance. We always say that the NASCAR community is one big family, and never has that been more evident to me than after seeing this family rally together and provide the comfort and support that has been shown to my family and me over the past few days. The calls and visits from the NASCAR executives and my friends and competitors have been truly uplifting. I want to thank everyone involved in my care, especially the staff at Halifax Medical Center, where I'm convinced I received the best care available. I'm confident the efforts of each of those trained professionals played a major role in where I'm sitting today. And to the entire NASCAR organization, led by Jim France, thanks for being by my side the entire time. You truly stepped up to support me unconditionally when it mattered most. Most importantly, I have to thank the guys back at the Roush Fenway Racing Shop that built me a car not only fast enough to lead the final seconds of the Daytona 500, but strong enough to do its job under great distress, allowing me to survive such an accident. I am truly indebted to each of you, and it is unlikely I will ever be able to properly express to you how much the diligent effort with which you conduct your craftsmanship has affected me and my family. I hope you took pride in the photograph of me walking out of the hospital hand in hand with my daughters on Wednesday. Thank you. I can't wait to get back in your race car. I was fortunate to avoid any internal organ damage or broken bones. I did sustain a head injury for which I'm currently being treated. The doctors have been pleased with my progression over the last few days. Again, I want to thank each of you, from my partners, teammates, and competitors, and each and every fan across the country. Thank you, everyone, for the unparalleled concern and unwavering support, and to the media, who has acted with such respect and class during this time. I've spoken with Jack Roush, and he has assured me that the number 6 car will be waiting and ready for my return. I'm looking forward to getting behind the wheel and battling for another race win in the Roush Fenway Ford. Ryan Newman.
Senior basketball player Quamir Savels has been named the RO Sports official Richmond County Male Athlete of the Week, presented by Moss Brothers Tires and Service. After seeing the Raiders drop their first 2 contests against Sandhills Athletic Conference opponent Lumberton this season, Savels stepped up and proved to be a difference maker in Richmond's upset against the Pirates in the SAC tournament semis. He was also a contributor in all 3 of Richmond's games last week, helping him earn his first career recognition.
So, Quamir, you and the number 13 Raiders are now gearing up for the 4A state playoffs, and they start on Tuesday. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about your career performance last week against Lumberton in the conference tournament semis. You guys go in there, you lost 2 in a row to them this year, and then you go in and drop 26 points, a career high, and you're also a perfect 12 for 12 from the line. So just kind of tell us what worked well and what clicked for Quamir that night.
Being aggressive was the main thing, not trying to just sit outside and just shoot the whole game, trying to get inside and drive and draw some fouls and get to the free throw line. That was a major thing for that game.
You mentioned going 12 for 12 from the line. How big was that late in the game for you guys to do? And other team, you guys are 24 or 25 as a team.
Right, that's real big when you get down to what it was about a 10-point game we won by. So that's the difference right there.
What was the motivation for the team that night? Because it seemed you guys lost to them by 29, 30 points earlier in the season, then you come back and beat them by 13.
Not wanting to be embarrassed again, pretty much. Wanting to lose. I mean, not wanting to lose.
That's right.
So yeah.
All right. Now we've talked about this before, and we've certainly written about it. But you battled a lower leg injury for a majority of the season. But with this being a really pivotal stretch, tell fans how things are going with your injury and how excited you are to be back 100%.
Well, first I had a heel injury, and that took about a couple of weeks to heal, and then came back, played 2 games, and I messed up my ankle. So the ankle still, it's not 100%, but it's getting better. It's not as bad as it was.
You're excited to be back there in the regular 5?
Right.
Good. Now the playoffs do start Tuesday, and the Raiders, you guys will welcome in number 20, Butler at home. Now I asked Coach Pettigrew this, but I'll ask you the same question. How important is it to have that home court advantage, especially to start the playoffs?
Oh yeah, even just one game how we have, it's real important.
Why so?
Traveling all the way to Charlotte wouldn't be such a good thing, especially going to Butler, that wouldn't be such a good thing, but having it here makes it easier on us.
How about your fans and the support here? What do you have to say to them for what they've given all season?
They made the games real hype.
Really hype, yeah. Now, what are the team's expectations Tuesday? Obviously, the easy answer here is to win, but what's it going to take to get past Butler and to make a deep run?
Intensity's got to be high. Got to be locked in defensively. Got to make shots, free throws, and cut down on turnovers.
Sure. All right, now we're going to switch over to our Raider Rapid Response segment, which gives you a chance to answer a couple of questions about Quamir. So are you ready for the challenge?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start pretty easily here. What type of pregame routines or rituals do you have? Something that whether you go out to eat or?
Honestly, I just like to laugh before the game and chill out,
So you
not
just,
really nothing too special.
Nothing special?
Yeah, I have a certain stretch routine, but that's really it.
You don't have any special socks or anything like
Nah.
that? Okay. Who is your all-time favorite basketball player?
Dwayne Wade, easily.
Easy, why so?
I just always watched him when I was younger. Played 2K with him and everything,
Okay. You actually played with him?
Nah, playing as him on 2K.
I got you.
Yeah.
So he wasn't sitting beside you playing?
Nah.
Okay. Well, yeah, anything can happen. To kind of build off of that, name 3 players that you would start a franchise around. D-Wade obviously be one, right?
D-Wade. I like Luka Doncic. Who else? I guess LeBron.
Okay. Not a bad trio to start a franchise. What are your plans after high school? Were you thinking about basketball? Like to go to school somewhere?
I honestly don't even know. I want to be a pilot, but think about National Guard. Still don't really know yet.
Lots of time to decide. And last question for you, Quamir. If you could choose one flavor of ice cream to represent your personality, which would it be and why?
I don't know. Vanilla. Plain, I guess.
Just a plain guy?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can roll with that. A big thank you to our official Richmond County Male Athlete of the Week, senior shooting guard Quamir Civils, brought to you by Moss Brothers Tire and Service. Good luck in the playoffs, Quamir.
Thank you.
And that's going to wrap up another edition of the RO Sports Show, brought to you by Richmond Community College. For the latest and breaking sports stories here in Richmond County, you can always visit richmondobserver.com and click on the Sports tab. You can also find some exclusive things across all of RO Sports' social media. And of course, be sure to tune in for Ross at 5:30 every Thursday evening for your Raider wrap-up. In the meantime, I'm Matt Harrelson, reporting from the Richmond studio in downtown Rockingham. Have a great week.